Hey, this is Mad Movie Mark on the Mad Movie Mark Movie Review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 1984 Woody Allen comedy Broadway Danny Rose.
I don't want to badmouth the kid, but he's a horrible, dishonest, immoral louse.
Hey, that's not fair. That's very mean spirited. That's also very wrong. I'm reviewing every movie that has 100% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm giving them all a score of 1 to 10. After I watch them and score them all, I will rank them from worst to best. I started the 1920 silent movie era, and now I'm in 1984 with Broadway Danny Rose. This movie has 100% fresh rating from the critics and an 84% fresh rating from the audience. Before we start, I just want to apologize for my voice. I've been sick for probably 6 days now. And I just really wanted to do a movie review over this long New Year's weekend that I have. And I did one last year on New Year's Eve. I had a lot of fun. So I'm just trying to bear with it. And I'm trying to get through this review the best I can because I really wanted to do one. This movie stars Woody Allen as Danny Rose, Mia Farrow as Tina, and Nick Apollo Forte as Lou Canova. Now, Mia Farrow was romantically involved with Woody Allen, and apparently he just likes to do movies where his female star is either someone he's romantically involved with or someone he used to be romantically involved with. I actually never knew that until I started this list. I knew he made movies, but I didn't know that that's really who he chose as his female leads. It's kind of interesting. I was nominated for Best Director and Best Writing, both of which would have gone to Woody Allen, but he did not win either. Now, this is the third movie I've seen and reviewed with Woody Allen. The first one was Sleeper, which I pretty much thought was comic genius. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. I thought it was absolutely spectacular. One of the funniest movies I had seen in a long time. Then I watched Love and Death, which I thought was great, but not nearly as good as Sleeper, not as funny, kind of fell a few points off for me. And now Broadway Danny Rose, which I don't think is as good as Love and Death, so they're slowly declining for me as I'm watching Woody Allen movies. And I think a big reason for that for me is just his co-star, Mia Farrow, is one of the reasons. So Diane Keaton was in the other two movies that I saw with him, and I just thought she was spectacular. She really fed off Woody Allen. They delivered their lines together perfectly. Comedically, they were able to time things exquisitely. Woody Allen was a lot like Groucho Marx, where there's a lot of talking going on, and he says a lot of funny things that you might not catch because of his fast talking. And he delivers lines really well, and I thought that Diane Keaton did really good playing off of him. And that was part of why those movies were spectacular to me, looking back at it. And I just don't think Mia Farrow has that. In fact, when Mia Farrow is talked to in this movie, it almost seems like she's like quiet, or she doesn't have those fast quips. So it's like when Woody Allen is talking like that, it's like he's complaining almost. There's a lot of oh, I thought you were going to get me out of this. I thought you were going to do that. I thought we were going to do this. Oh, but you said we were going to do that. And there's no real answer to these complaints because she doesn't know what to say.
No, that's a mistake. No, you gotta lay low.
What are you talking about, lay low? I didn't do anything. My whole life, I never got involved in any trouble. I ate the right foods. Now I gotta lay low? Jesus, you said one phone call.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna be taken care of. I got someone onto it. My advice is to check into a hotel.
Why? I got an apartment. What do I need a hotel?
No, you can't go back there for a few days.
I'm gonna spend for a hotel while I'm carrying an apartment? Are you nuts?
And I don't know if it was just because this is after Christmas break when I was with my family who complained quite a bit, or if it's just that that's what's happening in this movie. But a lot of the lines that I think are supposed to be between him and her, that are supposed to be the back and forth funny, like they were with Diane Keaton, it just sounds like he's complaining and whining, and it just doesn't do it for me. I just thought he was really annoying, which is sad because I think if Diane Keaton had played the opposite of him in this movie instead of Mia Farrow, I think she would have knocked it out of the park, and I think that I would have found it a lot more funny. And I mean, Mia Farrow is probably a great actress. She's in a lot of his movies. I don't know her as a great actress. I just know her as one of Woody Allen's people that he dated, whom later on he slept with her adopted daughter or something, and now they're married. That's all I know about Mia Farrow. I don't know her as this great actress, so maybe she is, but I don't see it. Like, it's hard for me to see her as a fantastic actress, especially with the material they give her here. It's just not really there. She's not really funny to me. And so I guess that was one of the big problems for me is I really need someone for him to play off of. He had that great in the other two movies, but there's no one to play off of here. And it just fell flat for me. That being said, there are a lot of funny scenes in this movie. The premise of the movie is fantastic. It's hilarious. It lends itself open to a lot of funny one-off jokes, which there are. But as a whole, for me, the movie didn't hit. It was a little bit. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't the hits that the other two movies were. So essentially what this movie is that Woody Allen is playing a talent scout type of guy, and all of the people that work for him, that he manages talent for, are really bad. Like they wouldn't make it in the world. They maybe sideshow carnivals or something, but they're not people who would actually make it big. They're D-level celebrity type of things, except for one guy who he really believes in called Lou Canova, who's kind of setting all of his eggs in one basket with Lou Canova. He's putting all of his time into this guy, which means he's not able to put time in for his other acts, which means his other acts are kind of annoyed at him. There's points in the movie where he tries to sell some of his other acts to other people. He's like, here's this act. I'll sell it to you for the same price I would have sold it to you before, which is whatever your best offer is.
Never took a lesson. Self-taught. Next year, Philly, my hand to God, she's going to be at Carnegie Hall. But I let you have her now at the old price, okay? Which is anything you want to give me. Anything at all, Philly.
Which is a pretty funny line. But he's really trying to get Lou Canova up and into the world. Now, one of the problems is that when he gets someone to the precipice of stardom, what he thinks is the precipice of stardom, they end up going to another talent scout because they think, okay, like I've made it to a point where other people are looking at me. Now I can go to the next level. So everyone usually leaves him.
No big shots, right?
I don't know. I've discovered certain artists that have gone on to better things.
Yeah, but they all leave you, right? How come?
I got a theory about that. I think what happens is they get a swell head. You know what I mean? And they people like to forget their beginnings. You know, and they just split.
And leaves him with like the mess of the talent that he has left, which isn't any good. Also isn't great because he stopped paying attention to them. But so Lou Canova is this big guy, and the big guy that he's trying to get into an act. And now there's like this big nostalgia thing going on. And Lou Canova is this big nostalgia singer. He sings a lot of like, like Frank Sinatra kind of stuff. And Milton Berle has decided that he's going to put on this show about nostalgia. So Woody Allen's character, Danny Rose, talks to Milton Berle and tries to get him into the show. And Milton Berle says, okay, like we'll have someone come take a look at your act, and we'll let you know what we think. Now, Lou Canova is married, but he's also cheating on this girl with Tina. Now, he wants Tina to come to the show, but his wife's also going to be there, so he can't come to the show with Tina by himself because his wife will notice. So he says, Danny Rose, I need you to be my beard. And apparently what beard means is I need you to pretend like you're with Tina, and I need you to bring her to the show, have her watch the show, and, things will be great. So Woody Allen, Broadway Danny Rose, he ends up going to Tina's apartment. Now, when he goes to Tina's apartment, she's on the phone with Lou, and she has realized that she's heard rumors that Lou is cheating on her with another woman, that he was seen kissing another woman. So she's on the phone, and she's very upset at Lou. And there's this very funny scene where Broadway Danny Rose is, I don't know what he says, but it's something very funny to kind of cut the tension.
Like hell I'll be there. You know what you can do. Goddamn phony.
Lou tells me you're an interior decorator.
I don't want to hear Lou's name.
So Tina decides that she's going to be leaving Lou Canova because he's two-timing her. She says, I know you're cheating on your wife. That's fine, but you're not going to two-time me. Which I guess is funny. I mean, I've seen enough in the world and in movies to know that once a guy cheats, he's going to be a cheater forever. So if he's cheating on his wife, he's going to cheat on you. I've made this argument before in my movie reviews, and it's only been proven every time. So she really decides that she's not going to be with Lou anymore. She's going to start a new leaf. She's going to start anew. She doesn't want to deal with a cheater anymore. Now, of course, Danny Rose, he's concerned about Lou having a good performance, and he doesn't think Lou will have a good performance if Tina's not there. So he's like begging her to get back with Lou Canova, which is, the whole thing to me is annoying. It's annoying because the girl is finally trying to break free of this guy who's obviously toxic to her, and he's trying to keep them together because of his own gain, because he has something to gain from it. So pretty much the whole movie is him trying to beg Tina to come back to Lou, to see Lou. At some point, he meets Tina's family. Now, Tina's family is involved in the cement business. Technically, I guess they're part of like the mob. And they think that Tina is dating Danny Rose. And they think that, Tina was supposed to be with this other guy at some point, and this other guy gets suicidal because he thinks that Tina's cheating on him with Danny Rose. And then the family decides that they want to try to kill Danny Rose because they've wronged Tina. He's wronged Tina in some way. The easy plot is becoming a little bit more uneasy as we go along. But eventually everything happens okay. She forgives Lou Canova because they have a talk on the phone, and he says that he, everything that she's heard is wrong. He wouldn't cheat on her. He's cheating with his wife, not with her. So he ends up leaving his wife for her. He ends up doing very well in the audition for Milton Berle's thing, or maybe it's not an audition for Milton Berle thing. He also, at some point, Tina is also trying to audition him for a new talent agency, a new talent scout, because she doesn't think that he is going to make it big under Danny Rose. So she says, Danny Rose has never been able to get you anywhere. I have this guy who can get you somewhere. He ends up auditioning for that guy also. And it's the same audition. They're just both there, the Milton Berle guy and Tina's guy. And he ends up getting signed on to a new talent scout, which is basically what everyone else did to Danny Rose. They leave him for someone better. And then later on in the movie, we learn that Lou Canova and Tina's relationship isn't exactly great. She ends up leaving him, and then she ends up going back at the end of the movie to Danny Rose and apologizing for what she did. Now, at first he kind of like dismisses her apology and doesn't want it, and kind of like says, go away. I'm with my talent here. I can't talk to you about this. Like, I have no reason to talk to you. You wronged me just like everyone else did. And what I thought was great. I hope this movie ends that way, where he totally shuts his door on her and she's left off by herself. That would be perfect. That would be the great ending. But then no, we end up seeing him run across the street to her at the end of the movie and then embrace. I'm like, that was absolutely, I hate the ending. I absolutely hate this ending. This ending's so bad because like she went behind Danny Rose's back to get Lou a different manager, okay? When she didn't know anything about Danny Rose and about how things were ran, she just thought that he wasn't going to be good enough. So she went behind his back. She ended up getting Lou a new person. And then she goes back to him and she says, like, I'm sorry. And he's like, okay, sure. It's so weird to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not as forgiving as other people are, but that was just so bizarre to me that's how it happened. And that's the basically the entire movie. So Woody Allen, I wasn't as in love with this movie. Like I said, instead of coming off as like genius, very fast with his comedy, very quick-witted, he just came off as kind of annoying and whiny and complainy, like through at least the first half of the movie. Like, it was bad for me. It was, let's say the first half to middle of the movie, it was just terrible. It was bad. There's also this scene in the movie later on where this guy shoots like an oxygen tank and they start talking like the Chipmunks. Maybe it was funny back then. I've seen it so many times. I've seen it done so many times in every form of media. at least 50, 60 movies, at least 30 television shows, different television shows where people do something with like oxygen or whatever, helium. I think it's helium where they talk like the children. It's just so overdone. It was not funny at all. And back then it probably garnered a huge laugh, but I just thought it was just so overdone. I was standing there shaking my head like, oh, come on, Woody Allen. You couldn't come up with something better than this. Even though, I'm talking this is 40 years in the future. Sure, maybe he was one of the first ones to do it, but it's just not there anymore. That part has aged pretty poorly to me, to be perfectly honest. And wasn't a huge fan of Mia Farrow. This is my first movie seeing her. I just compared her so much in the movie to Diane Keaton, to his other leading actress that he had in the other two movies. It just doesn't hold up. She's just not as good. She's not as funny. She's not as quick-witted. There's not as much chemistry there, and it just falls flat. And it was just hard. It wasn't funny to me. I just couldn't. I couldn't watch the movie and just think that this is who her predecessor was in these movies. And maybe that's not fair, but she did a lot of movies. Diane Keaton did a lot of movies with him. And then Mia Farrow came in and did a lot of movies with him too. And this is like the quality of the Mia Farrow movies, and they're just not as good. And it's just really sad. And then Nick Apollo Forte, I think this was the only movie he was ever in. He was really good in this movie. I mean, considering he's not like a real actor and he's a regular lounge singer, thought he did really good. The writing's okay, but it's not nearly as good as Sleeper. And maybe because Sleeper and Love and Death are like, they're sort of like parodies of things, of times and of ideas. I don't know if this necessarily is a parody of anything, but Sleeper and Love and Death are parodies of things that I know, and I could, like, the situations they were in, I thought were funny because they were familiar to me. It's just not the same. It's not the same here. So I wish I could say that I enjoyed this movie better, but I didn't. I still give it an 8 out of 10. It's still not a terrible movie, but of the three Woody Allen movies, it's definitely the worst of the three. Thank you. I hope you have a great day.